That there is me and my girlfriend Mia. And currently, we're in the middle of Mexico. To help us get here, we've been gifted a decked out van equipped with custom woodwork, fully equipped kitchen, convertible bed, storage box to store gear externally, solar panels and outlets for charging, plus a long list of other features and capabilities. Together, along with some friends, we're on an epic 2-week road trip adventure. The goal of the trip is to chase wind and waves down the coast of Baja. And the most exciting part about the trip for me is that Mia and I have both never experienced van life, and thanks to Sandy Vans, we've been hooked up with a cream of the crop vehicle to experience Baja in the best way possible. This is our journey south of the border. And in this episode, we pick up exactly where we left off. On the road and en route southbound after scoring our first proper session on the water. Now, being nearly a week into our Baja road trip, I was starting to feel pretty comfortable with the lay of the land. And with talk of firing waves further down the coast, we had a lot of open road ahead that we were excited to explore. Driving the Highway 1 has been a surreal experience, and oftentimes, honestly, pretty scary. The road would range from wide and easy to narrow and sketchy as hell, especially when passing by the big semis. I've visited Mexico a few times in my life, but it wasn't until this trip that I really began to resonate with the country. After seeing so much in such a small amount of time, the vibe across the peninsula remained the same. It's the land of living loose and cervezas. After clocking a solid few more hours on the road, we were pulling into our next stop just before sunset, and we had a good feeling there could be waves. Sure enough, it was firing. Finally, the wave I've been dreaming of. It was a reeling right-hander that looked like the most rippable wave ever. The only problem was the light was fading fast. So I hustled to get in my wetsuit, probably faster than I ever had before, and tried to get lucky before it got too dark. The boys ended up scoring some pretty good waves that session, but for my personal self, not so much. It got too dark before I really got anything notable, so without wasting much time, I hung up my helmet and crossed my fingers that tomorrow was gonna be on.
Oh my god.
Funny enough, I was so excited that I ended up waking long before the sun did, as did the rest of the crew. And with high hopes, we gave the wave a look, and indeed, it was firing.
Reeling. It's fire.
Size picked up from the night before and howling offshore winds created a beautiful canvas of a wave that we were all skitzing to go rip around on. I grabbed my wetsuit and GoPro, paddled out there, and prepared to lock into some of the funnest rides of my life. After scoring for about as long as my legs could handle, I was later informed on the beach that the locals, rightfully, weren't so happy with our caravan of surfers. It was pretty funny. Honestly, I was expecting more altercations during our road trip, just by nature of our crew's size. Yet, this was the first problem we had all trip. Probably because this was the only spot there was actually other people. Either way, I totally understood. And now that we had a good surf under our belts, we were content and ready to cross over to the Sea of Cortez. But along the way, Forrest and I decided it was time for a change in scenery. Personal scenery, that is. We wanted to shave Forrest's head for the Sickos video, and I wasn't ready to get rid of my long hair entirely, yet I wanted the long hair out of my eyes, so I did what any sane man would do, and I got a mullet. Now we were feeling like studs as we made our way across the barren deserts of Baja with a fresh new look. Our first stop was a town known as Mulahey, and I'd heard so much about it from Forrest as his grandma, oddly enough, lived there. Mulahey ended up marking a bit of a haven in all of our hearts. It just had this charm to it. Old buildings, colorful streets, rad little restaurants, and a feeling of peace and tranquility. To top it all off, Forrest's family was kind enough to take us all in for warm showers and homemade pizza.
Grandpa Woody's wood-fired pizza is officially amazing.
The next morning, we were on the road yet again, and I quickly realized that the Cortez side of Baja instantly felt more tropical, more pristine, more paradise-esque. Mulahey acted as this gateway where Baja really started to feel a lot less like Baja. It honestly reminded me of Hawaii, or the Caribbean, or sometimes even the Mediterranean. I don't know, it was just turquoise water and colorful streets, and just different. This portion of the road trip turned a lot less into the search for waves and wind and more into a sightseeing tour, but I honestly enjoyed it. Every single turn was something spectacular around the bend, and it just was incredibly enjoyable finding hidden camp spots, hidden beaches, and places that you just would never have thought existed in Baja. Just about 14 days later, we were pulling in to our final destination, La Ventana.
Our final destination.
I grew up coming here in elementary school, long before it was really discovered, and I was blown away by how much it had changed. Mansions lined the coast, reminding me of freaking La Jolla Shores or something. And on the water, well, there had to be at least 1,000 kites out the day we pulled up. The reason this place is so appealing to us wind sporters is because, you guessed it, it's always windy. We've been in Ventana for 2 weeks now, and as our trip winds down to an end, we've had some really good memories. Countless days on the water, grabbing food from the local taco stands, and getting creative with ideas are what fill up our days. And now, as I prepare to catch my flight home, I can't help but look back on what an adventure that whole trip was. From remote kite surfing destinations to firing waves to towns and locations that look out of the movies, our road trip through Baja proved to be an unforgettable experience that I'll never forget.